Hello everyone, as I'm sure you're all aware, as of last Monday, Nintendo shut down the Wii U and 3DS servers. Among the games affected by this was Xenoblade X. Today I wanted to talk about what we lost from this and just talk about Xenoblade X in general and my feelings on it. Unlike the main trilogy of games, Xenoblade X has a wide variety of online features, including co-op missions and raid bosses for multiplayer. For non-multiplayer features, there were a number of locations where you could find other players as NPCs in the world and you could recruit them into your party. Additionally, your squad could earn tickets while you're online. Losing co-op and the ability to interact with other players in the overworld is unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Without them, the game is still perfectly fine and fully playable. I do want to focus on the raid bosses and squad tickets though. If you haven't played X before, or just haven't played much of it, you may not be familiar with the ticket system. Effectively, they're a universal currency that can be earned in exchange for monster drops. There is a ton of grinding in this game, and being able to exchange tickets for parts you need rather than having to spend hours grinding is absolutely massive. That said, there aren't actually very many ways to attain tickets in-game. You can get them from squad tasks as mentioned before, and they're also awarded from co-op missions, which most importantly includes the raid bosses. Seeing as these all require online, I'm sure you can see the issue. The only method in-game to get tickets that isn't tied to any online feature is 100%ing the game. Even after that monumental task, all you get in return is 500 tickets. To put things into perspective, in order to get the Ares 90, you will need 2 golden Yggdrasilith hearts. A single one of these costs 636 tickets, which means you can't even buy one, and you need 2 to make an Ares 90. Needless to say, grinding has become a lot more difficult with the loss of the Wii U servers, considering tickets have become so valuable. Before the shutdown, grinding tickets from the raid bosses and trading them in was by far the most efficient method for gathering resources in X. With it gone, people looking to play the game from now on will struggle a lot more to keep up with equipment. Moving on to something else, this isn't quite an online feature, but I'll mention it anyway for the sake of completion. Alongside X, there was a DLC pack available for free on the Wii U eShop. Of course, this was already inaccessible for a while, but it sped up the loading times, which, depending on how you play, could be a good or bad thing. I will admit it is pretty fun to abuse the slow loading times by dropping in on a probe site and activating it before the enemies actually spawn in, but that's just probably a me thing. Continuing off that, I did also want to share my own experience with X. I got into the Xenoblade series through Smash Bros. And played the original Xenoblade 1 on the Wii before immediately going into Xenogears. After that, I wanted to play more of the series, so I picked up X in 2017 and decided to give it a shot. That first playthrough was absolutely miserable. I barely even made any progress in the game. I got up to that mission where you have to destroy the 3 turrets in Oblivia and just stopped playing. It was completely different than anything else in the series. I had to grind side quests before playing each chapter of the story, and the story wasn't even that interesting. That mission was what did me in. The high-level enemies and the difficult-to-understand combat system were just too much. Just as the cherry on top, the game doesn't have any tutorials. There's an insanely deep combat system, but the game just tells you to read the manual and calls it a day. Anyway, after that I put down the game and didn't touch it for many years. Fast forward to 2022. We're in peak Xenoblade 3 hype season, and I really need something to get me through to June. I decided to try replaying X, going in with much more tempered expectations this time, and playing through it again, I actually ended up really enjoying it. Knowing the story wasn't the focus of the game really allowed me to engage with the vast amount of side content and exploration this game has to offer. Finding all the probe sites in an area, picking up as many side quests as possible, and just running around in the world looking for things. This was also the first playthrough where I managed to get far enough in the game to unlock a mech, which honestly should have unlocked a little bit earlier in my opinion. Being able to traverse the world on foot and in a mech opens up so many options for both exploration and combat, and the only moment that can really compare to getting your first mech is unlocking the flight module later in the game. The amount of freedom this game gives you after getting a scale is unbelievable. I ended up 100%ing the game, and I will say it was a very enjoyable experience. Even with the loss of the online servers, if you're looking for a laid-back Xenoblade MMO-like, I definitely recommend checking out X. Going forward, I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time before a fan server pops up. Pretendo has already made a ton of progress, so I'm sure we'll get something soon. Even so, as far as official stuff goes, I don't think this is the end of Xenoblade X as far as Nintendo is concerned. I know there's a lot of people clamoring for an X remake, and while there isn't really any evidence in support of that being Monolith Soft's next project, it definitely is a possibility. With Nintendo's new online service being paid and the spike in popularity of Xenoblade with the release of 3, it does make sense to port X over. That said, I don't think it'll happen soon. It seems more likely it'll be a title on whatever comes after the Nintendo Switch, perhaps as a way for Monolith to familiarize themselves with the new hardware. All we can do is wait and see, though. That all said, let me know in the comments section below if you've played X and what you thought of it. I know it's a pretty divisive title for a lot of Xeno fans. For those of you who haven't finished the game, do you plan to keep playing with the server shutdown? Thanks for sticking around and listening to my rambling. You all have a great day.